Welcome to Rauta and Heavy Metal Review. This time we go to United States with a band called Castle, and this is the new album Evil Remains. Before we take a look at that, let's quickly visit Metal Archive's site. Now, first thing you need to know is obviously there are plenty of bands known as Castle, and curious enough, this is the latest one. So there are at least 4 bands on Metal Archives named Castle and at least one more on Discogs. Probably more, but when you click at this... Sorry, wrong one. When you click at this Sludge Doom band, and then you're like, okay, once again, I went wrong. You see the problem. Now, when you go for this proper Castle band from United States / Canada, you will find this 2-person band. I'm saying 2-person, not 2-man band, because we have a woman and a man, or at least assuming so boldly, that decided to play heavy doom metal. So 2-man band, 2-person band, and then a session drummer doing the live parts, because obviously you gotta be figuring that as much as I was when listening to the music and going for the basic facts. You have Matt Davis for guitars and Elizabeth Blackwell for vocalist and bass, and then live musicians, and the drummer slot have been changing throughout the years a few times. They nowadays seem to list 3 different drummers as active ones, which makes me think they probably changed their drummers from party to party, gig to gig, and so forth. Now, discography wise, this is their 6th album, so not exactly anymore a new band, and they've been going on since 2009, so 15 years. That's gotta be worth something. So here you see, if you go to their Metal Archive site, that not to be confused with Castle / Doom metal band from Minnesota, or California heavy metal band, or Nebraska-based band, playing hard rock. And like I said, there are other bands named Castle, not just from United States. So sometimes take notes, younger generation. Before you choose your new demo band, make sure that you see at least Metal Archives when you're starting a metal band. I'm going to name it with some of the names that have been always been used. But I guess this band deserves it the more because, like I said, they have the most albums out. And this is their latest album from September 2024, Evil Remains, which has an old school cover. I mean, this is already taking you back to the 1970s in terms of vibe and all, or at least me, and features 8 tracks, 37 minutes. So let's give this one a look, how it is, and talk about the music. Now, not only the cover, but also the music is old school. I mean, basically this is paying homage to, say, 70s and 80s with a given style, meaning this really sounds like a retro act. And I mean it in a neutral way. I'm not gonna comment whether going retro or old-fashioned or vintage design styles and whether they are bad or not. But these kind of bands get the, retro tag because, like I said, they're not really originally that old. So calling them vintage can be a little bit misleading. Calling them retro does rightfully justice to their music. And here is the duo in picture. Now, the style of music is indeed doom and heavy metal. Sometimes you get a little bit more doomier vibe, the kind of a Black Sabbath era and all. So the kind of a grooviness which is present there very early on, the very first era of metal music to begin with. Now later on, when you just move on with the music and all that stuff, you get a little bit this and that, maybe flirting a little bit with the 80s and stuff. And I'm not gonna say, once again, it's a bad thing. I think it's actually refreshing that they're putting together different things. So it's like sliding from one era or decade to another, and it makes quite refreshing. But that being said, this isn't a way one trick pony other than the things with the generations and decades. If you are not gonna like 1 or 2 songs on the album, the rest is gonna be pass for you. Why so? Because there are no real surprise moments. There are no surprise elements like, okay, this was unexpected. You pretty much know what you're going for when you listen to just like one song. And in a way, this reminds me the band Lucifer, which is also like a retro occult rock slash, early steps of heavy metal. Meaning it's very, very much tapping to old school ways. And liking this album kind of requires you to, like the early days. So if you're more into modern sound or ways how the songs are structured or the riffs or all that, yeah, it depends whether or not you're gonna like this. My point here is, this is made for those who love old school music. It can go beyond, obviously, Black Sabbath and all, maybe Blue Oyster Cult and all that stuff, but more focused on heavy doom and metal in general rather than going for rock music. What is also a thing worth mentioning, that this is indeed female fronted, meaning that there are female vocals. So those who are looking for some kind of a deep male vocals and all that might be disappointed. But I kind of find it refreshing that it comes with a female point of view. I mean, it's not too common still, even though we're not here to talk about extreme metal, that you have a female vocalist doing that stuff. And mind you, women singing heavy metal is quite refreshing and very, very cool because, like I said, the vocal range is so different from a lot of guys out there. Then again, nothing out of ordinary apart from that aspect, because it's not like this goes into weird ways or unexpected territories when it comes, for the music and how the vocals are done and all that stuff. For me, it's a little bit like off my radar, off my chart, not being my cup of tea. Why so? Because I was never a big fan of 1970s stuff. For me, it pretty much started with the 80s. And I'm not going to say, yeah, Judas Priest or Iron Maiden didn't do their stuff right, but I'm saying for me, heavy metal goes more into the glam stuff or kind of a Manowar stuff when we're talking about the 80s. So a little bit more rough, rowdy, and all that stuff. This is a little bit more going to the stoner ways rather than, the speedy heavy metal, thinking about Wasp, or the overly masculine styles like Manowar, or the British ways like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest. So once again, expect more of the 70s retro heavy rock, doom, heavy metal combination than anything else, and you're good to go with Castle. Those who like the style are probably in for a treat. And if you want some similar artists to give you going, here is a list on Metal Oxide's site. And seems like I'm not the only one thinking of Lucifer when I was listening to this, because it's, voted here as the second most similar act, even though it's a little bit more on the rock side of things. And of course you will see some bigger and smaller names here on the similar artist tab. So if these are some of the names you already like, there's no reason why not to check out Castle. So off you go, listen to some old school stuff, wear a denim jacket while you go, and grab a Babs Blue Ribbon, and you're good to go. Off you go, and see you soon with more reviews coming your way. Take care.